Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers the right to film, protected speech, and courthouses, and is brought to us by the Random Patriots channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. In a video posted on April 7th, 2024, independent journalist Justin McHenry, the owner of the Random Patriot YouTube channel, visited the Lonoke County Courthouse in Lonoke, Arkansas to film the publicly accessible areas of the building. Mr. McHenry recorded the encounters that followed and shared them on his YouTube channel.
Hello, I was just reading your signs real quick. I'm working on a story. I was just coming in to work on my story here in the building. I don't need to go in the courtroom. What's that?
Don't record me.
Do you work for the public? Who do you work for, ma'am?
I work for the sheriff's office.
Okay, then I can record you. It's actually my First Amendment right to do that. If you work for the government, I'm allowed to record anyone that works for the government in their course of duty.
Anything you have in your pockets goes in the bucket?
Sure. I'm not here to start anything with anybody. I just wanted you to know that. Can I get your name, please?
Deputy Mabel.
Mabel's? Okay, thank you. I'm Justin. Look at this, the Bill of Rights right here. So nobody in here better have anything to say. Pardon me, Miss Mabel's?
Yeah.
Is this sign talking about these stairs right here, the restricted area? I don't want to go anywhere I can't go, so I just want to make sure.
No, you cannot go up that stairwell.
I can't? Okay. That's what I was asking. I'm just working on a story, just looking at everything that's for display in the building.
What kind of story you doing?
Right now, I'm just trying to document everything that's in the Lonoke building. But I'll just straight tell you, honestly, sometimes it turns into cops being called because I have a camera and people don't like that. And so sometimes it turns into that.
The cannon out there, it's pretty neat.
I was checking that out when I first got here. It's a 3-inch rifle, they were calling it.
Yeah, they've got the rods out there in the glass cases.
Oh, for real?
They used to stuff the cannonballs in it. You want to get
here?
those glass cases
Oh, I didn't know that's what that was.
They go to the cannon.
Oh, cool. Thank you. What the hell?
Right, but what I told you was I thought it would be...
Y'all shut the door on me?
Oh, we were just talking about something.
Talk about me?
No.
Why you shut the door on me then?
It wasn't on you. We just sometimes close the door like when court's going on and we're having conversations.
So you don't care if I'm filming, but as soon as I leave, you're gonna shut the door on me?
No.
Oh, I can ask you.
I think you're being very defensive. We're not trying to attack you at all. We were just talking.
Well, you're like, hey, go check out this, and then the door shuts.
Oh, no, I was just talking to her.
Hey, go outside and look at that, and then the door shuts.
That's historical.
And then the door shuts.
You're being weird.
You're being weird. You guys are being weird. You didn't need to shut the door on me.
You are welcome to film here. Like, I don't have any problem with that.
I'm not.
I don't have any problem with you standing in here, and actually closing the door had nothing to do with you.
Okay.
Is there anything that...
No. I don't.
From this office?
I don't even want to bother y'all anymore. I was just kind of like, that was weird. The door got shut on me.
Excuse me. Right.
Oh, no.
You don't need to be combative in our office. None of us
I'm not combative. I was laughing. You got...
asked you why you're being combative with us.
When was I being combative?
And I asked you if we want to close our office.
When was I being combative?
You want me to lock it?
Well, you can't do that. If you lock it, then you need to lock it for everyone. You can't just pick and choose me. You can't pick and choose me.
Move on.
It's everyone or no one.
Something that you said or something that you did, she felt was aggressive. So it.
Well, I have it all on camera, thankfully.
The right to ask you to move on.
No, you actually
if
don't.
They feel that way.
So law
Because my
trumps
job
feelings.
is to secure them from the public.
But no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I promise you, it's not. Feelings do not trump the law.
Deputy Mabels argues that she has the authority to ask Mr. McHenry to move on because the employee felt that his speech was quote-unquote aggressive. As the Supreme Court stated in the 1949 case of Terminiello versus Chicago, quote, "The vitality of civil and political institutions in our society depends on free discussion. The right to speak freely and to promote diversity of ideas and programs is therefore one of the chief distinctions that sets us apart from totalitarian regimes. Accordingly, a function of free speech speech under our system of government is to invite dispute. It may indeed best serve its high purpose when it induces a condition of unrest, creates dissatisfaction with conditions as they are, or even stirs people to anger. The court also proclaimed that, quote, speech is often provocative and challenging. It may strike at prejudices and preconceptions and have profound unsettling effects as it presses for acceptance of an idea. That is why freedom of speech, though not absolute, is nevertheless protected against censorship or punishment, unless shown likely to produce a clear and present danger of a serious substantive evil that rises far above public inconvenience, annoyance, or unrest. However, as the Supreme Court explained in the 1942 case of Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire, quote, allowing the broadest scope to the language and purpose of the 14th Amendment, it is well understood that the right of free speech is not absolute at all times and under all circumstances. There are certain well-defined and narrowly limited classes of speech, the prevention and punishment of which have never been thought to raise any constitutional problem. These include the lewd and obscene, the profane, the libelous, and the insulting or fighting words, those which by their very utterance inflict injury or tend to incite an immediate breach of the peace. Additionally, as the Supreme Court outlined in the 1992 case of R.A.V. versus St. Paul, the First Amendment's protection of speech and expression does not extend to quote-unquote true threats of physical violence that the speaker intends to imitate or incite fear in another individual. Now, in this situation, Mr. McHenry's speech was clearly protected by the First Amendment. His words and tone were, at worst, argumentative and annoying to the public employees, and no reasonable person would believe that they rose to the level of fighting words or a true threat of physical harm. As the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals held in the 1976 case of Hammond versus Adkisson, quote, even insulting speech is protected by the First Amendment unless it is likely to arouse anger to the extent likely to cause violent physical retaliation. Accordingly, it is highly likely that a court would determine that everything Mr. McHenry said during his interaction with the public employees was protected by the First Amendment.
Okay. Let's everyone calm down and de-escalate a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm asking you to move on away from this office.
If you move on, I'll move on. If you go that way, I'll go that way. I'll take every step you take.
Okay, well then we'll walk together. So go.
I'm not going with you. I'm going the opposite way you go. So whatever way you go, I'll go the opposite. How about that? I don't like being told what to do for no reason. I'm not trying to go in there, sir, just so you know, but if you do shut that for me, you have to shut it for everybody.
I shut the door because we're trying to have court down there and you're being really loud. So I need y'all to move on down the road, please.
You can't.
Thank you.
All right. I'm not going to interrupt anything.
I'm not going to argue with her.
All right, I'm not going to argue with you either, sir. Can I get your name real quick, please?
No, sir.
Do you work for the public?
I do not.
So you don't have any business
Get out
telling
of
me
here.
what to do?
Go
No.
on.
If you don't work for the public, I don't want to hear from you, sir.
And you're interrupting my court.
I'm not interrupting anything.
Just go.
Hey, if you quit talking to me, I'll quit talking to you, and then there's no sound. So what am I
You just
am I
want to argue
interrupting?
with somebody, so just go.
I'd rather you just left me alone, honestly.
Well, you started it. Go.
No, I didn't.
Claiming that he is being disruptive, bailiff Bobby McMillian repeatedly tells Mr. McHenry to leave the courthouse. According to Section 21-1-106 of the Arkansas Code, quote, a public officer or employee shall not prohibit a person from using a recording device carried on or near the person in a place that is open to and accessible to the general public unless the act of recording or the location of the recording person presents a risk to the physical safety of anyone present or unreasonably obstructs or inhibits another person's lawful presence or movement. The statute also states that, as used in that section of the code, the term prohibit means, quote, to interfere with the physical operation of a recording device by threat, duress, coercion, direct order, arrest, detention, or use of force, but does not include instances, now quoting again, when there is no interference with the operation of the recording device or the person who operates it. Now, while Mr. McMillian did not tell Mr. McHenry to stop filming, he did order him to leave the courthouse altogether, which would have the effect of preventing him from filming inside it. However, the statute also states that, now quoting again, this section does not change, diminish, or denigrate the inherent or constitutional powers of the courts to regulate the absence, presence, or conduct of citizens occupying buildings or real property under the jurisdiction of the courts. As the Supreme Court of Arkansas noted in the 2005 case of Namalock versus Jack, quote, a court has the inherent power to maintain an orderly administration of justice. Similarly, the U.S. Supreme Court explained in the 1980 case of Richmond Richmond Newspapers, Inc. versus Virginia that, quote, a trial courtroom is a public place. Even more than city streets, sidewalks, and parks as areas of traditional First Amendment activity, a trial courtroom is a place where representatives of the press and of the public are not only free to be, but where their presence serves to assure the integrity of what goes on. But this does not mean that the First Amendment right of members of the public and representatives of the press to attend civil and criminal trials is absolute. Just as a legislature may impose reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions upon the exercise of First Amendment freedoms, so may a trial judge impose reasonable limitations upon the unrestricted occupation of a courtroom by representatives of the press and members of the public. Accordingly, courts have consistently upheld restrictions on cameras and filming inside the courtroom. For instance, in the 1965 case of Estes versus Texas, the Supreme Court held that the exclusion of television cameras from the courtroom did not violate the First Amendment. In reaching this conclusion, the court noted that, quote, just as an ordinary citizen might be prohibited from using a motion picture camera in the courthouse because by so doing he would interfere with the conduct of the trial, representatives of the press and broadcasting industries are subject to similar limitations when they attend court. Under this precedent, it is highly likely that a court would conclude that a bailiff could prevent an actually disruptive member of the public from filming in the courthouse if their presence is interfering with ongoing court proceedings. Nonetheless, in this situation, a court could still determine that Mr. McMillian violated Section 21-1-106 by ordering Mr. McHenry to leave when he was not inside a courtroom and was not actually causing any sort of disturbance.
Y'all started it. I'm minding my own business asking questions about the building. So you guys are starting stuff with me because I have a camera.
Ask you to keep it down because we're out trying to have court.
And I'll agree to that.
Okay.
It says you work for Lonoke County, so you do work for the public, so you do need to tell me your name.
Yes.
What's his name?
My name's Bobby.
All right, and what's your last name, sir?
McMillian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I help you, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to bother anyone. I'm just looking at what you got displayed for the public. What are these things?
They're just some little things that I bought because I'm the treasurer, and they're just little coins.
Cool. Alrighty. You guys have a good day.
You too.
That sound coming? Is that you?
Oh, excuse me.
What's going on?
I got a call from the ladies downstairs about a bad person in their office.
Oh, combative. So the fire truck came?
Asked him to leave.
I was trying. Oh.
He said, tell him that there's people on.
Oh, weird. She told 2 lies right off the bat, and I have it all on film, but
What's going on?
I'm not being combative with anyone. I've been extremely polite. All I've done is ask questions about the building and about Lonoke, trying to find out more about the history, and I have it all on film from the very second I got here. This all started when I was actually just talking to some ladies down here in this back office. They were being cool. They're like, oh, you can film, check this out, check that out. And then they're like, hey, check that out in the hallway. So I go check it out in the hallway, and the door slams behind me. But it didn't shut. It kind of slammed and then came back open. So I was just like, what? Did you guys slam the door on me? And then they were like,
Let me stop.
blah, 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 blah,
Let
blah.
me stop for just a second. I got to slow a lot of people down.
Wow. So emergency?
Everything's 10-50.
Yeah. Like, I'll talk to you guys. I wasn't doing
You're fine,
anything.
You're fine. You got to understand we've got a heightened sense of
No, you're
alert when somebody presses a
They should have done that.
The sheriff's office comes.
Wow.
Hang tight.
What's up, guys? It's just me.
How are you?
Hey, no, I'm cool, man.
This is Sheriff Staley.
Hey, I'm Justin, dude.
Yeah, what's up?
I didn't know
You want to
I know what happened.
calm the
I don't mind talking to him again. I'll tell him what happened
No, you're
again.
fine.
I thought someone was hurt or something. I didn't know this was over me.
This is Sheriff John Staley. I'm Chief Matt Edwards, the Lonoke Police
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Y'all go? Yeah. Chef say go tonight.
So, yeah. So I have everything on film since the minute I got here. I'm just checking out. I'm learning about the history of Lonoke, about the courthouse. I've been extremely polite with everyone, just like I am right now. The very last one on the left, I was just in there, and they were cool too. They're like, hey, check this out, check that out. I don't care if you film. And then they were like, hey, go check out those little cannon pushers out in the hallway. So as soon as I walk out in the hallway, they slam the door behind me. But it doesn't shut, it kind of slams and opens. And I kind of laugh and like swing it back open, and I was like, I'm not trying to bother y'all. If you don't want me in here, no problem. I was just wondering why y'all said check this out with a smile and then slammed the door behind me.
Yeah, okay.
And then that was it. That was literally the height of the disaster.
It's just the alarm button that was pressed.
Oh, the security lady might have did it.
Did you talk to our security?
She came down and said I had to leave the building, and I told her I'm not trying to start anything. I'll walk away, but I don't need to leave the building.
Somebody and then judge's office or somewhere here, they push the button, may have said that, but we'll take care of that. If you want to let them all go. And hey, Danny, will you turn my lights off? Yes, sir. I'll find out what was pushing. But you're welcome to be here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. The only rooms I went in that were clearly for the public to go in, you know.
Yeah, like this here. I got a lot of history about this. You'll talk about it. Actually, I watched it.
You do? All right, cool. I was wondering if you knew who I was, because I was going to tell you one way or another, but
I see it every once in a while. I review that stuff because we're constitutionalists. Matt worked with me for years.
Good deal.
He's the chief over here now. Whenever they push a button, we're all going to come because we don't know what it is. It's not like a call that says, "Hey."
Right. Imagine hitting hitting that button, knowing what's going to happen over me. Well, next time you're going to be like, "Is this a real emergency, or is it a guy with a camera?"
Well, what I'll do is get with all the elected officials, and I'll go over with them exactly what this is. Yeah. Of course, there's no trouble here. We just
cool.
We're coming to make sure.
Exactly when I came in and they said they pointed to you, and I'm like, what's going on?
That's when I was like, oh, I see what's happening.
Let's just
Dean's going
try to figure that out.
What does security say? She let you in, let you walk around?
She just didn't want me to film her. That was it. Yeah. That's whatever. Yeah.
What I will do, we want to go over especially the First Amendment auditors. I guess, is that what you call yourself?
Yeah. I call myself a journalist, but
same thing. So I'll walk through and just kind
cool.
of talk to them. So people know we need to educate them, and we'll work on educating them. And I'll do that with all the
awesome. I appreciate you, sir.
All right, man.
Have a good day. You guys need to be more picky about what you hit the emergency button for. That was not a good thing to do. They're kind of upset about that.
I don't know, hey buddy.
Hey.
I don't know if that's the treasurer now.
Yes, sir.
What's your page name?
The Random Patriot.
The Random Patriot. All right, man.
Thanks,
Need
brother.
something to call me?
Yes, sir.
The sheriff's office is at the end of town. Feel free to head back.
I might do that. Cool.
We're there.
All right. See you guys.
After he finished filming at the courthouse, Mr. McHenry went across the street to film in the publicly accessible areas of the county assessor's office. Although he was originally asked to leave, Mr. McHenry told the employee to call the sheriff, and after she presumably spoke to Sheriff Staley, she allowed Mr. McHenry to continue to film. Mr. McHenry has not indicated whether he intends to file a complaint or pursue legal action regarding this encounter. Overall, Deputy Mabels gets an F for maintaining an unpleasant and unprofessional demeanor throughout the encounter, attempting to interfere with Mr. McHenry's First Amendment rights, and wasting government resources by pressing the panic button in a clearly non-emergency situation. While it is Deputy Mabels' responsibility to protect the safety of the public employees who work in the courthouse, it is not her job to protect them from uncomfortable feelings or discussions. And although Mr. McHenry may have been a bit confrontational in his speech, he took no illegal or remotely threatening actions that would even come close to justify summoning any sort of emergency services, let alone pushing the panic button. As Mr. McHenry pointed out, misuse of the panic button could lead to a less urgent response to a future legitimate emergency, and I hope that Sheriff Staley was able to help Deputy Mabels learn from her mistakes in this encounter. Sheriff Staley and Chief Edwards get an A+ for interacting with Mr. McHenry in a friendly and professional manner, showing significant respect for Mr. McHenry and his First Amendment rights, and taking steps to avoid future interference with the right to film in public buildings. Not only did Sheriff Staley and Chief Edwards immediately recognize that Mr. McHenry had not violated any laws and that the panic button should not have been pressed, they then went above and beyond by conversing with Mr. McHenry about the First Amendment and the history of the courthouse. Sheriff Staley even took the time to individually discuss the situation with the courthouse employees and Deputy Mabels, and informed Mr. McHenry that he would pursue further First Amendment training for all government employees. I commend Sheriff Staley and Chief Edwards for their substantial knowledge of the law and their commitment to the Constitution, and I urge other law enforcement leaders to learn from their example. Mr. McHenry gets an A for maintaining a respectful demeanor in all of his interactions, demonstrating a solid understanding of his First Amendment rights, and politely but firmly resisting the courthouse employees' attempts to curb his right to film. Although Mr. McHenry was confrontational at times, he remained well within his First Amendment rights throughout the encounter, and attempted to engage in productive conversation with the officers and government employees about the right to film. I applaud Mr. McHenry for his obvious passion for the Constitution, and encourage him to continue to pursue his independent journalism projects. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.